Hey guys, Deal Games here, and I've compiled a 1.3.1 bug list, which I'm going to share with you. And these are just some of the most major bugs that have been reported by me, as well as a lot of the people on the Deals Gap server, and a lot of the people on the Minecraft server as well. So these are bugs that have been tested time and time again, and are pretty much held true, and can be replicated fairly easily. So we're going to go through here, and we're going to say all the things that need to be fixed for 1.3.2 or 1.4. So these are just the glaring bugs. Nothing that's been in the game for a long time is listed, including the lighting bugs and stuff like that. Alright, so let's get down to it. In order to fix multiplayer, Mojang broke single player. So basically what they did was to try to level the playing field, they broke single player, meaning pistons are all glitchy in single player, mobs are broken now. I don't understand why they made that decision. They said they were going to fix multiplayer and make it more like single player, but what they did was completely the opposite. In multiplayer, going into the Nether can cause you to glitch into lava and die, and I know that's been happening to JT on the Deals Gap server a lot, so that kind of sucks. And that is not an isolated issue. It happens to people all the time. It happened to, I think, Packrat. He died in the Nether. In multiplayer, going into the Nether can cause you to lose all of your EXP. Now, basically, when you go into a portal, your EXP drops to 0, and then sometimes when you go back out of a portal, it will go back up to where it was, and other times, you'll just lose it. It'll be gone, which is pretty annoying if you need to travel. In single player, mobs will now glitch through walls, similar to the way they did in 1.2.5 multiplayer. Now, we all know how annoying that is when you have a nice mob trap set up, and they're all just flying all over the place. Creepers coming out, blowing up when they shouldn't, mobs shooting you even though they're inside a stone box or something like that. It's incredibly annoying. In multiplayer, when two players walk past each other in a 1 meter wide area, they both take damage. Walid and I have noticed that in our Deals Gap video just a few days ago, so that kind of sucks. In multiplayer, when one player walks inside another player who is standing next to a wall, the players closest to the wall take damage. And sorry, I read that wrong. And if they both, or if the second player walks into the wall as well, then they will both take damage. If a water current pushes you directly against a block, you will take suffocation damage. So basically, what that means is there's just one stream of water pushing you against a particular block, then you will actually glitch inside it and start taking some suffocation damage. When entering the Nether, a ghost image of a dark stone texture can be seen for about half a second before you're able to actually enter the Nether. Villagers and other mobs standing on the ground can all fall through and be half underground. And you've all seen that. That happens to players as well, where only their head is just sticking up out of the ground and they look pretty silly. And then sometimes even jumping up doesn't fix that. So I don't know what causes that, but that's really annoying. In multiplayer, if you are being pushed into a block by a water current and log out, you will fall into the void when you log back in. So let's say we've got one of those one streams of water pushing us into a block. And then if you log out, what can actually happen is when you log back in, you'll be inside that block, and then you will basically become an entity that just falls through the world. So you fall through all the blocks and then end up in the void and die. That's happened to me several times. When entering the Nether, a ghost image of a... Oh, sorry. Read from the wrong place. Let's see. We are right here. Sorry about that. All piston contraptions that require precision timing have now been broken in both single player and multiplayer, even though Mojang promised to fix the timing in multiplayer. So that's going back to the idea of to quote-unquote fix multiplayer. What they've done is merge multiplayer and single player. Single player is not single player because it is a server, and it is a server that can be hosted locally for people on your local network. So that is not single player. Hostile mobs now fly out of mob traps in both single player and multiplayer, so that's the same bug that we had in 1.2.5. It's actually slightly more glitchy now, so they fly both downward and to the sides. Luckily, they don't fly upward yet. I assume that they actually could do that in some situations. Sorry, I need a breath here. I've been talking quite a bit. Let's see, where are we? In multiplayer, hostile mobs freeze in the eyes of the player, but are still moving server side. So basically, they can be moving around, but that doesn't show up for the player. So you could see a creeper, and it may not even be facing you. It may be several blocks away, and then boom, you just get blown up and you die because the creeper was actually still moving on the side of the server, and you couldn't see it. In multiplayer, skeletons and zombies will not face the player until they are within a few blocks of each other, at which point the skeletons will shoot instantly. So a skeleton could be facing the complete opposite direction from you, and you could be standing like 2 blocks behind it. It'll just whip its bow around and shoot you right away, so you're just going to take that extra damage. In single player, zombies slow down to a crawl sometimes and then speed back up at random. You've all seen that in my 1.3 Let's Play. In multiplayer, dying makes the other players invisible to you, and sometimes they cannot see you. In multiplayer, relogging can cause other players to become invisible to you, or you to become invisible for other players. In multiplayer, items can be broken out of a chest, taken out of a chest, not broken out, taken out of a chest only to disappear from the inventory and travel back into the chest. And I bet you've all had that happen to you, where you take something out and then you walk, it could even be several hundred blocks before the item returns back into the chest. In multiplayer, chests often take up to 10 seconds after being clicked to open. When lightning strikes the ground in either single player or multiplayer, it can leave a fire which cannot be put out and doesn't damage the player. So that's just a random graphical glitch, and it happens to everybody on server side. Random fires start in both single player and multiplayer. They can't put out, and they do no damage to the player. Again, one of those just graphical glitches. So I hope you guys learned something from this. So make sure you're not running into the Nether too often or being pushed into a block by water, because that can kill you. These are all the things that need fixing, and I hope maybe this video can get quite a few views and maybe have an effect on what Mojang does in the next update. See you guys later. Deal Games, signing out.